So, back. So, what I was saying is that I'm going to try to explain to you when I first experienced a vision quest, and the true vision quest when you're actually it's sleep deprivation when it happens, and for shaman, and when experienced in this lifetime. Even though I've been using psychedelics, using plants for most of my life, and I mean one form or the other, and then I stopped for a while, and then I the banking thing. I mean, but they've always been a pretty major part. And the times that I've dated a few women that didn't really know about it, and I wasn't, and so I had to kind of stop doing it. And then started doing it behind their kind of behind their backs because they still didn't understand. And of course, one thing about the practice of shamanism, it's not a very let's see, you can't have a family with shamans. You can, but you have to be a special practitioner, I believe. Or if you're a female shaman, you have to be a special shaman to be able to accept them disappearing into the spirit world, and another dimension for a while, and I hope they get back. I hope they don't even kill himself, So, so I've been doing these for most of my life, and I knew there was a connection between me and the plants, and I know one last thing, people that most people that will watch this, they just won't get what I'm saying, and they'll say it again. Oh, he's making excuses to do drugs. It's just easier. But there are those you and probably the ones that you that actually know Terence McKenna and know who he is and who he was and the books he's written and okay, he had a PhD in I think psychotherapy or something, or in some kind of science. He had a PhD, so he was more respected, even though he was tripping on mushrooms every week, and he kept on making getting a higher dose of mushrooms just to be able to reach that higher level and stuff. And that's good and all, and that's him, and that's his practice. And I mean, that's cool. I mean, I've used mushrooms, and they're amazing to be able to connect to God's people. But there's something about the vision quest, which represents the sleep deprivation part of it, that is very hard for people to grasp. And even the ayahuasca people and the people that do the retreats, some of them are medical. They've hired medical doctors to actually oversee the whole thing and to ensure that people are. And it blows my mind that they don't understand. When they tell you you have to sleep 8 hours, and if you don't get 8 hours sleep, if you don't get sleep, then you can get crazy, and it can affect your mind, and it can get you schizophrenia. All right, it's fine. That's fine. That's fine if you're untrained on it. But if you're trained on it, then you'll understand that it does something specifically for connecting to other dimensions. Something that is, to me, one of the most amazing things about this whole thing. And I stopped doing this for many years. When I was in Occupy Wall Street, I was up for days at a time with no sleep. And that's the only way I was able to stay there and do the things that I did. I stopped, and then I started up again 2 years ago, and now I'm living in a tent in the woods behind the supermarket. That's what I have to do to get to this point again. So let me make you understand how I came across this. Because I've never really stayed up more than anything. Before I believe the age of 45, which was in 2005 or 5 or 6, that I went through a divorce with my ex-wife. I was living in Florida. I hadn't done I've done E's and other things like that, and party type stuff, and mushrooms, but I hadn't done any coca plant material in a very long time. And I came across somebody, and they, after divorce, I went to a concert with a friend of mine. I got some, I haven't done it in a while. Boom, 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 and that led me into the next year and a half, almost 2 years of shedding my first was my marriage. That was already done. But then the work that I was doing, and then eventually the house that I had, and everything, and then just moving back to New Jersey, because I couldn't really afford living in Florida. But in that time period, I experienced something extraordinary. And again, I'm not promoting a drug. I'm not telling you to go do it. I'm not there's interviews with some pretty famous movie stars that admit to doing the same thing. But the difference is that they drank alcohol. Most of them talk about drinking alcohol, and that's not. Alcohol is the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. So, what led me to start doing Vision Quest, or led me to open up to understand what they are. Understand, staying up for a few days does something incredible to you. If it's under the right conditions, with no alcohol, and no one really like looking over your shoulder, going, "Hey, yeah, you sure you're gonna get in that car and drive? Everybody, you haven't slept in how many days?" That's like, yeah, but I can go without sleeping for 48, 3 days, in 4 days, and drive a car better than most people, and definitely better than anybody that's had even one drink in the system. It doesn't impair judgment. It does the opposite, especially if you're awake. It enhances not just judgment, but also enhances the ability to see very clearly and very openly and very precisely and very getting information and messages. I mean, everything comes out. I started painting for the first time, really, to the extent that I did this time around. Back then, I painted murals on the inside of my house and the outside. I painted murals that I knew eventually were going to just be painted over because the house was going to be foreclosed and sold. And what led me to that is it was during the Iraq War, and I started getting a lot of messages about the war and how it was destroying Iraq and it was killing innocent people. I mean, and I would have these incredibly lucid, vivid, I'm in there dreams about these souls, these people, these human beings getting slaughtered and murdered by the Allied forces in Iraq to push forward into getting Saddam. And it got to the point where I got numbers like 450,000 Iraqis at that point were dead because of the war that George Bush started. And it was an activist thing, but it was also not just an activist. It was I experienced their death. I would go to sleep, and the one vivid one is me being a little girl in a little Iraqi girl in a hole that was created by one of those bombs that they send out, the ones that scatter all around, and then fall, and then she stepped on it, and basically the thing blew her arms and her legs off, and her whole family died at that point. She was in that hole with no arms and no legs, crying out for her mother and her father, screaming it, but they were all dead in the same vicinity area. I was that little girl. I felt her pain, I felt her anguish, and I felt her scream, and to the point where I woke up fucking scared, shitless. It wasn't a movie I was watching. It wasn't just a nice dream or even a nightmare. It was a vivid, lucid dream that pulled me in and said, you better go fucking start telling these people to pull the fuck out of Iraq and leave these people alone because these people are dying. And they're dying for oil, and they're dying for money, they're dying for greed. Innocent people. So these dreams became so strong and powerful that I couldn't fall back asleep, because every time I fell asleep, I'd go back into those same set of dreams. It got to the point that I did not want to sleep. So what happened is that I would force myself to stay awake. I've done stuff before then, and you do it, and then eventually you just fall asleep. You smoke a lot of weed, and something to make you fall asleep. But no, I wanted to stay awake. I needed to stay awake. I had to stay awake because the more I stayed awake, when I fell asleep, at that point, say if I stayed awake for 3 days, right, and at that point I fell asleep, I would fall asleep so heavy that I would not dream at all. But within, 16, 20, even up to 25 hour or 24 hour period of not sleeping, that dream is so vivid, it's so strong, it's so powerful that it literally wreaked havoc in my life. I would wake up shivering, I would wake up scared, I would wake up with all this stuff that I had to get out, and I did a lot of activism and protesting, first in different spots in Florida, and then just because I got arrested a few times, and I didn't want to do that shit anymore. So on my own property, I would turn my whole property into an anti-war, anti-Bush. Bush has killed 450,000 human beings. War. But